News in just a moment, but first...
A man is dead after being stopped by police.
We do want to warn you, the footage you're about to see is graphic and has added new fuel to the national conversation and protests around the use of force.
Nice buffering in the middle of the video to start video. Okay, we're gonna abandon that. It started buffering. Wow. Let's just jump right into this. God, that was nice. That was wonderful.
We need a theme song for the news station, for the Newslight graphic.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to fix that. Wow.
Welcome to the show. Please stand by for technical difficulties.
Absolutely. Wow.
I'm glad I got a haircut today, a few days ago, so.
It's stuck. Wow.
All right, so hello again, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the CrayolaSec News Harsh Reality. Of course, the man holding the technical, doing all the technical work, and the owner of CrayolaSec, Scott. Well, as Prince calls him, Sonnier.
Sonnier.
Sonnier. Anyway, and don't forget, we do have the wordsmith, wordspell expert himself, and of course, Harsh Reality's own Hart Honer.
Hi, all. And thanks for having us, Scott.
And Farts Baker says, "What's up, mother?" And who's the long-haired feller? The long-haired guy is Hart Honer. He is a word spell magician. So just letting you all know that.
And a special shout out to the CrayolaSec page for continuously posting 7/23/2022 with a special guest, the Harsh Reality with Harsh Med.
Yeah, well, no, that's probably gonna be the official comment of CrayolaSec like 2 years after we start doing 2 years from now. It'll be 7/23/2022 and like 2025. We'll still do that.
7/23/2022. Wow.
It was a nice show. It wasn't like that memorable. Jeez, I'm talking. Well, I mean, it is historical if this show ever becomes famous. So. It's Skeet Sonnier. Sonnier. Going to Farts Baker.
Skeet.
All right. So what headline do y'all want to start with first?
I stray away from the news, so you're just going to surprise me with whatever you're going to throw at.
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of at the point with the headlines too, but it is a way for me to talk about how everything's like fucked up on purpose anyway, so it makes it entertaining. And yeah, let's just start with the Trump nonsense, just because people are stupid, so fuck it. Just do that.
All right, well, here we go. The FBI recovered top secret and even more sensitive documents from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, according to court papers released Friday after a federal judge unsealed a warrant that authorized a sudden, unprecedented search this week. A property receipt unsealed by the court shows FBI agents took 11 sets of classified records from the estate during a search on Monday. The seized records includes some marked not only top secret, but also sensitive compartmented information, a special category meant to protect the nation's most important secrets that, if revealed publicly, could cause exceptionally grave damage to U.S. interests. The court records did not provide specific details about information the documents might contain. The warrant says federal agents were investigating potential violations of 3 different federal laws, including one that governs gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information under the Espionage Act. The other statutes address the concealment, mutilation, or removal of records and the destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations. The property receipt also shows federal agents collected other potential presidential records, including the order pardoning Trump ally Roger Stone, a leather-bound box of documents, and information about the president of France, a binder of photos, a handwritten note, a miscellaneous secret documents file, and miscellaneous confidential documents were also seized in the search. There's also a question from Miss Christina Bobb, who was president of Mar-a-Lago when the agents conducted the search, signed 2 property receipts, one that was 2 pages long and another that was 1 page long. Basically, what's going on now is that he's saying that he had a right to declassify, but they're saying he wasn't president when he took the documents and so on and so forth. And it looks like it might be a mess.
So
It's a mess. It's a waste. The FBI has made a total mockery of this investigation. Believe me, folks. Believe me.
you got to put the hair up first for that.
Believe me, folks. Believe me. Believe me. We are talking about a complete mess of this investigation. If they had me, if they could have arrested me, they would have kicked me out of office, wouldn't they, folks? Folks, they would have kicked me out. Come on. They would have kicked me out.
If you were like had some sensitive information that could incriminate you and you're a criminal with all sorts of resources, would you be like, can you bring that to my house?
Right.
That's a good place to store that stuff. Why don't you bring it to my house? The top secret now, just keep it there.
Well, I mean, the same goes for Hillary with her mail server that had millions of confidential emails on it, that just so happened to get erased.
Right.
I mean,
I mean, the whole,
all
I
of
mean, the
them are
whole thing is
guilty
just
of data
lunacy.
breaches.
It really is. It's just fucking lunacy. Because it's like, on one hand, it's like, okay, Trump's controlled opposition, like whatever the fuck, fine. But on the other hand, it's like, I mean, this is all a charade anyway. But on the other hand, it's like, this is the stupidest thing. Like, what did they actually obtain? That's what I want to know. Because I don't think that if they were able to obtain anything that was incriminating, don't you think they'd be in handcuffs by now?
Yeah.
I mean, how long have they looked into this guy? They've been looking into him since 2016. It's like, if they want him in jail, yeah, shit. Brian Parker, that's a good opinion. He says, but they've got you talking about giving MSM credibility.
I know it's all a play. He came out with a promotional video, boom, just like that. So like that stuff takes time to set up. And so yeah.
I mean, the point being is that the whole thing is just so stupid. But then again, it just shows you that if you don't do what if you don't do what the ones in power want you to do, they'll make up any charges to get you arrested. But then again, for all we know, Trump may be the guy who's orchestrating all this to garner sympathy and outrage.
Exactly. That's all it is. Just to promote him, look like the knight in shining armor. He's going to come take out the stupid people who are being stupid at the moment. And, trying to paint him as a good person. So, or in the light, well, not really a good person, but not in the wrong of if they come up with nothing or, so.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they had Trump arrested and he's just spending time in like one of his hotels. And but see, guys, we believe in democracy. It still exists in this country.
And then even though that's the thing, they don't get thrown into jail like any other normal person would. They couldn't, and even if it was some sort of, it'd be some high end resort where they still have plenty of resources, and
It
and
doesn't.
really it doesn't even get that far. They just pay a fine. So whatever
It's
crimes
it's
they do
it's
for
not
it is
only
paid
that,
for.
but you also got to take into consideration that if it wouldn't be this side, it would be the other side in the same type of conspiracy. It doesn't matter what side they came from. We had Hillary Clinton with all of her lost emails, an email server that wasn't supposed to be there. When now we have Trump with his confidential documents. I mean, if they were that much of a confidential problem in the first place, you think they would have went after him a long time ago, not the second year of his predecessor's term.
Right. Right. I mean, they have been trying to investigate him for 6, 7 years, and at least I think they are. And not they haven't really come up with anything substantial. Lori says this isn't exactly credibility, correct? But people, some of the normies would be like, "Oh my god, you see, a corrupt politician did get arrested." And it's like, no, it's not. You know what? I like this Brian Parker guy. Every United States CEO knows confidential information. Correct. We
Yeah.
should add it. Or someone send him the link. Netsky Smith says, I think he eventually will remember during his trial. His ex-wife passed away, Ivanka Trump, I think he eventually will remember during the trial, his ex-wife passed away, Ivanka Trump, so they postponed the trial. Lori says they're all Teflon. Yeah, that is Teflon, that is true. And Brian says talking about it lends credibility to the sheeple.
No, that's the thing. Talking
I'm
about it
trying to break that.
defeats the credibility.
It's not credible.
Exactly. I
Don't want
mean,
to.
I understand his school of thought when he says that, but at the same time, it's like, well, if you don't tell how stupid it is how much of a dog and pony show this is from time to time, they're going to fall for it even more. So, what Brian Parker's in essence bringing up is a double-edged sword. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'd rather at least once in a while talk about how stupid this stuff is. Otherwise, where's the fun in that?
I know my Facebook feed is getting swamped with BS pertaining to said story. Hey, give it up, y'all. It's it's a distraction from the exactly of what the bigger play is at, and it's all a play, and there's just whatever is being thrown at us is a smoke and pony show.
It really is. Well, at least it gives us more content to talk about, right, Scott?
Yep, that's definitely true.
Now I could give you addresses where the FBI should be raiding, but we won't mention them on this show, should we?
Not tonight.
And that's the thing.
That
We get
I'm
down to
just
what I don't like using the term, but to generalize them, the elites aren't going to punish the elites.
no.
The pedophilic judicial system isn't going to put away the pedophiles that control the pedophilic judicial system. It's that they aren't going to damn themselves. It's nor save you from them.
I mean, for fuck's sake, Jeffrey Epstein faked a suicide and went on a boat or a yacht to fucking Israel. He faked his own death to go to Israel. You think he spent a day in prison? No. And another thing, a lot of these celebs and other people. I don't know if I should be saying this on a fucking live stream, but a lot of these celebrities, actors, politicians, or whatever, they have body doubles.
Right.
So there could be a situation where a body double of theirs actually passed away, but they themselves are just living it up somewhere else.
which would explain all of the Elvis sightings, right?
Although I don't understand why we saw body
I
doubles
seen
of
them
Elvis.
on my toast this morning. I'm pretty sure.
But see, I don't understand why there's so many body doubles of his after his supposed death. Shouldn't they have come out in like the 60s or something? Like, fuck. Elvis, the minute the Elvis comeback tour happened at 68, they should be like, fuck this. It's time to go. Time for all the body doubles. Gotta flood the sands. You gotta flood you gotta flood the sands. You gotta flood the fuck. I'm trying to think of all the old hotels they had back then. You gotta flood Circus Circus. You have to flood like Hotel all these motherfuckers. Gotta flood all these fucking casinos.
All
You know, Caesar's. Don't forget that. You know, Caesar's Palace. Don't forget them either. Not Caesar's. That's a pizza place. But Caesar's Palace.
That's Little
Don't forget that
Caesars.
either.
And no,
Elvis
we're not endorsed
Okay.
by Little Caesars. But I mean, if you want to throw your hat in the ring, you're more than welcome to it. Just message me. And
Tricky Dick enlisted him. Oh yeah, that is true. I remember that actually. God. Art Baker's one of our favorite people.
Speaking of the IRS, Brian, what do you think about them hiring an additional 85,000 agents?
Oh,
7,000.
How many?
And are they supposed to be apt and ready to carry firearms and use deadly force? I've seen something like that too.
I didn't see that, but
Uh,
you're going to have me Googling stuff while we're live here.
take it just as a possibility rumor, but yeah, it's not solidified. But fuck. Yeah, no, they ain't going after the few that are rich. Well, that's the thing. Everyone's going through hard times, and to go through, well, yeah, you go through people's taxes, and now it's going to be the mass land grab, and whatever other equity has been signed over to ones who can't afford to pay it anymore.
Well, all I know is that the ones who have like Netsky says, if suppose you have money and friends in high places, anything is possible. That it is. And just like avoiding taxes. And if Farts Baker asks, y'all saw Elvis? I'm like, no, Scott might have back in the day. We don't know. I might have seen him as a kid in like the 70s. We don't know.
Now, I'm laughing at that last comment.
The whole time I'd be like, why the fuck can't I see everyone's comments? They're on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, the thing is, this is on 8 different pages, including YouTube, Baker. So there's going to be some from Harsh Reality, some from, Crayola, and some from Scott's YouTube channel.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel that has a total of 2 videos on it.
Oh, you haven't been striked and kicked off for those 2 yet. What's going on?
No. Just the same Sony complaint from last week.
Besides, people don't pay attention enough to do that, so. Not yet. Brian Parker says it takes up to 5 years to train an agent to be inept. 5? I thought it was 10.
Pretty sure it's like a 2-week cyber boot camp. You just go in there and they hand you a gun and say, here, shoot at this. Okay, that was close. Take off.
That's what they're doing with most, most of the industries. They're, all the ones that didn't agree to the given mandates, they're switched over for ones who, what are those called? Scabs. Who took the jobs and are highly unqualified to take over the jobs that they did take over. Like a bunch of teachers, nurses, all said have you.
And yes, please do that. Please do that, T, because for the simple fact that if you report my videos to the IRS for a social experiment, we will get rid of those 85,000 agents out of sheer boredom.
Yeah, we actually would. You know,
They would quit.
they would either quit or make us famous, and I think they'd make it. I think they just quit. So
Yeah, they would just quit. Nobody's going to make us famous.
no, not like that. At least. Country Joe Logan says, "Hello, people.
Joe.
Hey, Joe," as Lori says, and hello, Lori. Man have a brain, but definitely has some common sense. He's one of my favorite people.
Don't do that anymore.
Which one?
The Alabama one. That was scary. No.
That's
Oh,
Joe Logan.
Yeah, what am I going to say? That's how he sounds like. What am I supposed to do?
All right, well, our next headline is a little bit of a shift of pace. Respected snake researcher dies from rattlesnake bite.
Oh my God, Farts Baker. He's making fun of. He says, harshest country girl accent is on point. I don't think impersonating a buff bald dude is a
T-
country girl accent, but is this way of calling Joe Logan pretty? Because I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Look at my pretty bald head. You know, God made us bald, and the rest of you imperfect.
T,
So
if I
picture
could,
up there. Can you throw his picture up there? Throw his comment up there.
if I could hard react comments from this page, I would. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. I'm already secking better than the Rose Arts. Yeah, the most worth that, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but well, let's just say that they're called the Rose Arts for a reason. So
Yes, he is a professional entertainer. He's a Chippendale.
he wants to see me shirtless, but anyway, not right now at least. And Joe said, "What's wrong with the Southern accent? Nothing."
Just coming from Harsh. That's all.
Just get the shit out of God for some reason.
Yes, Brian will be sure to put money on your books.
Currently, I've held a state business license for 20 years with no IRS contact. This could end that, though. Well, depends how it's structured.
Hopefully that was a 501c.
Lori said,
Good
"I
luck.
love all Harsh's impersonations." Well, thank you, Lori. Harsh. Hey, Harsh. Hey, Lori. And now Joe's going to have more fun with this. No. From Country Joe Logan. No, Harsh. God created a few perfect people and the rest have hair. Oh, see, that was the comment. I knew I fucked up. So basically, we're all imperfect. Joe, so yeah.
Nope. This guy here.
Empty anything. No fuck no anything. Lawrence Baker says, "Wow, I'm offended.
Offended. Offended.
I'm offended." Huh?
Oh, jeez. Let me get back to these headlines. That last one, there was a whole story attached to it, and I just, that's like the most severe story of irony ever.
Switch the IRS.
A little bit
No, the
to be
respected
expected.
snake researcher
handler being.
gets killed by a rattlesnake.
You think he'd have some anti-venom on hand,
Who?
The snake handler.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
snake researcher.
Huh.
In other news, author Salman Rushdie stabbed on lecture stage in New York. You want to read that one?
Sure, I suppose.
Chautauqua. Wow. Chautauqua, New York. Salman Rushdie, whose novel The Satanic Verses drew death threats from Iran's leader in the 1980s, was stabbed in the neck and abdomen Friday by a man who rushed the stage as the author was about to give a lecture in Western New York. A bloodied Rushdie, 75, was flown to a hospital and underwent surgery. His agent, Andrew Wiley, said the writer was on a ventilator Friday evening with a damaged liver, severed nerves in his arm, and an eye he was likely to lose. Police identified the attacker as Hadi Matar, 24, of Fairview, New Jersey. He was arrested at the scene and was waiting arraignment. Matar was born a decade after the Satanic Verses was published. The motive for the attack was unclear. State Police Major Eugene Staniszewski, I don't know how to pronounce that last name. Mr. Eugene, if you're listening, I would greatly appreciate that correction. And anyway, an Associated Press reporter witnessed the attack to confront Rushdie on stage at the Chautauqua Institution and stab or punch him 10 to 15 times as he was being introduced. The author was pushed or fell to the floor, and the man was arrested. Dr. Martin Haskell, a physician who was among those who rushed to help, described Rushdie's wounds as serious but recoverable. Event moderator Henry Reese, 73, a co-founder of an organization that offers residencies to writers facing persecution, was also attacked. Reese suffered a facial injury and was treated and released from a hospital, police said. He and Rushdie were due to discuss the United States as a refuge for writers and other artists in exile.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this isn't really that surprising. Because like Lori said, Salman Rushdie had a hit on him has had a hit on him for the last 4 decades. And they are inept. I don't know how someone could have death threats for 40 years and it just ends up in a stabbing. That's just weird. Like, I don't even bother at that point. This is weird. But that being said, he's pissed off like a lot of these Islamic nations for a long time. So none of this is surprising. It's just surprising that it took 40 years for him to get stabbed. I'm not saying it's a good thing that happened. It's not. I'm just saying it's rather
weird.
I question everything. Is it a play? Is it a publicity? What do they got brewing up behind us?
Are we sure Salman wasn't involved in this himself? Because I mean, this is the first time we're talking about him in a long fucking time.
I mean, he's in kind of critical condition right now. So I mean, it's not likely he planned something that harsh on himself. No pun intended.
No, what's that guy?
I mean, people do anything to stay in the limelight.
I forgot that politician, but he pretty much said I want to say frickin' McKenzie for some reason. But he pretty much, like, 2 days before he was dead, he was like, "Oh, this is my last speech," and they know when they're going to go down, and it.
No, so what were you gonna say?
Yeah, it's a part of their sacrifice too. The part of being infamous or famous. I question everything. I view everything as a plan. It's planned out.
I just don't understand. After 40 years, he was just stabbed. Like, that's just weird. I mean, that's why I agree. Like what Hart's saying. It's like, yeah, this might have been planned. If this is what it. I mean, in 2022, they're gonna weird. Weird, just weird.
And then another thing too is it may not be just for them. It's to promote and to prop something else. That besides the author itself, it's just the movement. It helps the movement. Yeah.
Lori says, so they say. And MLK Jr.'s mountaintop speech, for example. Yeah, that's true too. You know, I'm just gonna say about Salman Rushdie. For the first time in years, we're talking about him in the public eye like this. And second of all, the only thing I knew 10 years so, a decade or so ago, the only thing I knew about him was one is a renowned author who spoke out, one who spoke out against his own religion for a long time, and who dated Padma Lakshmi at some point. That's all. That's all I knew about him. And now, I don't know, 42 years and he gets stabbed. All those threats and it ends up in a stabbing. That's kind of weird. They can be more dramatic, but
And it could just be an actual story with a loopy guy who went and just attacked this author. Yeah. And also, no, so it's not to laugh, but
we shouldn't be. No one should laugh at this, but at the same time, it just goes to show you how staged it is. All right, our guy Country Joe Logan says the best. If someone's taking 40 years to get someone, they ain't good. They ain't good at hitting a person or the target is clever. Then again, like Hart says, it's pre-planned for publicity. There you have it. And our guy Brian Parker asks, how about Russell Brand kissing Harari, the advisor to Klaus Schwab? Yeah. Ugh. Well, that's all you need to know about Russell Brand then. Controlled opposition. Katy Perry's ex is controlled opposition. Who knew?
action, pictures speak louder than words, right?
Yeah. All right. And Nanetsky Smith has posted, I'll probably check this after the show, a list of what was taken from Mar-a-Lago, including one contained Espionage Act, outlawing unauthorized possessions of certain national security information. So.
And my computer ain't happy again. Even restart. Doesn't want to keep up. Garbage. What have we got next there, Scott?
I will say one thing, Hart. It's fun to talk about these headlines when you know how things really work.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't. I'm gonna say this because this lawsuit I know has been going on for years now at this point, but Johnson and Johnson to finally end sales of baby powder with talc globally next year. Don't ask me why they're waiting so long. Johnson & Johnson is pooling baby powder containing talc worldwide next year after it did the same in the US and Canada amid thousands of lawsuits claiming it caused cancer. Talc will be replaced by cornstarch, the company said. The company has faced litigation alleging its talcum powder case caused users to develop ovarian cancer through use for feminine hygiene or mesothelioma, a cancer that strikes the lungs and other organs. Johnson & Johnson insists, and the overwhelming majority of medical research on talc indicates that the talc baby powder is safe and doesn't cause cancer. However, demand for the company's baby powder fell off, and Johnson & Johnson removed the talc-based product in most of North America in 2020. The company did so after it saw a demand drop due to misleading talc litigation advertising that caused global confusion and unfounded concern about product safety, a company spokeswoman said.
Right. I mean, this isn't surprising because this has been going on since, longer than Scott's been alive. I mean, this was going on probably, a month before he was born in like the 50s. And I'm just kidding. But no, it's been going on for about 65 years. Like it started from like the 50, like the earliest mentions of it, according to Reuters, the earliest mentions of the tainted Johnson & Johnson talc that Reuters found come from 57 and 58 reports. You know, they described the contaminants on the talc from Johnson & Johnson's Italian supplier as fibrous and acicular or needle-like tremolite. That's one of the 6 minerals that in their natural occurring fibrous form are classified as asbestos. This was in 1957-58. They're telling you it was asbestos in the powders.
Known to cause cancer.
Right. And in 1976, let me just, I know it's Reuters, so I don't know how much to trust this, but it says in 1976, the Food and Drug Administration was weighing limits on asbestos in cosmetic tail products. Johnson & Johnson assured the regulator that no asbestos was detected in any sample of the talc produced between December 72 and October 73. It didn't tell the agency that its 3 tests by 3 different labs from 72 to 75 had found asbestos in its talc. At least in one case, levels reported as rather high. So, it only took them 60 years to shut down something they should have done a long time ago. Such a shame. They should have shut it down the minute Scott was born. They'd be like 79. Shut it down.
And the thing, it wasn't through being told to or a legal case that brought forth. It's just people stopped buying the darn things. Stop buying their products.
It only took them 60 years to figure that shit out.
But who's worse? The general population for not stopping use? Oh, it might cause cancer. Doesn't matter. My ass is dry. Really?
I mean, I will say this. I was grateful Gary Merck came on the show a few times because when he told me about how poisonous some of the everyday products are, even the things that aren't known for causing cancer, it's like, wow, damn. Like, even when it comes to these lotions and deodorants or whatever, it's very poisonous. I was having that conversation with one of our guys in the fuckers chat, and they were just trying to wrap their head around, like, well, you know, that's bad, but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. But I'm like, well, there's so much poison in the food, water, and the air, and like even the daily cosmetics. It's like some of these deodorants with aluminum, it's not good for you long term.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what works.
Right. I mean, even I mean, there's so much like chemicals even in our daily uses. I mean, I think alchemist Gary Merck pointed out once, like, the toilet paper we use, they had to dye it other colors. It's not naturally white. They had to dye it to white for that thing.
And to bleach it.
Yeah, they had to.
But okay,
The
but here's
body
the thing.
absorbs
But here's
some of
the
that
thing.
heat.
Okay, I understand all of these things we expose ourselves to are harmful for us. But on the other hand, that even though those things weren't around back in the day, the life expectancy is a hell of a lot higher now than it was back then.
Yeah. Somehow. I don't know how that's the case.
Because maybe some of these things aren't as bad as what people make them out to be.
That's also going and relying on statistics too, and that's it's from the viewpoint of the European diet and what was brought over. So the food, the way of living, how the water is treated, all that was brought over from Europe.
Right. I mean, and to piggyback off his point, like, yeah, it's a higher quality of living compared to what it was 50 years, not quality, but higher, longer lifespans than 50 years ago. But if you talk about how long like Will would tell you firsthand when it came to his people, that they lived a hell of a lot longer than 70 years. Some of them may have lived 150 years, but we're never going to know that because they destroyed, because a lot of the Akashic records got destroyed.
it's a big thing. There's like the pictures. It's just a picture of the old native man because they're old. Oh wow, they're old. So they took pictures, a whole bunch of because no one else was getting old. Natives were.
Well, the Westerners were getting old. It's all the natives and Easterners that actually live longer lives. But but that was before, the Europeans spread a lot of their stuff into these countries, and the next thing you know,
Okay, which toiletries are you referring to, Brian?
Uh-oh. Oh,
Because,
really?
I hate to say it, that's a lot of the reasons the sanctions really don't matter in Russia is because they're fully self-sufficient.
Yeah.
that may supply most of Western Europe with their own with gasoline. So, but, no, I was gonna say, let's have some funny Lori's comments. My two toddlers powdered up their entire bedroom once. It was like a snow globe exploded in there.
I been there.
And
Been
Robert
there.
says, "LOL, it's the vaccines that keep us alive."
Sometimes, Robert, I really think your brain is just pickled. It's like no blood flow whatsoever, just pickled.
There's just his comments that are.
I know
He
he's
could be
not. He
pickled at
doesn't
the
come off
moment.
that way when you talk to him.
But it's a different form of pickling. But no, it's a sarcasm doesn't always flow through comments as clearly as sarcasm is.
That was clear sarcasm with what Robert said, though. But anyway, but let's read Brian Parker's thing because that's interesting. He says, first thing he says, I'm finalizing plans to take over the known world. Who's with me? Baby powder will be a required ingredient. And then he says, Russia doesn't allow toiletries. They even know any or all perfume, shampoo, etc. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And then Lori says makeup is particularly noxious.
Yes, Lori, it is, and it's even more noxious for some of the people that wear it. Or the people that wear it are more noxious than the makeup. Never mind.
Right.
That was supposed to be an analogy, and I completely ruined it. That was a great job on my part.
Yeah, you're still learning the process. Anyway, Kim
Learning the
Starchable, one
process.
of Hearts diehards, says cornstarch is just as bad. Agreed.
Eh?
And she also says my nana lived till 103. Not many people live to 103 now. That's true. And Robert says, "Hey, I'll put on a wig first." And Lori says, "1 more year of cancer, and then we quit." That's good to know. But more importantly, let me get to this one. Our guy Country Joe Logan says,
No, thank you.
"Yeah." Lori says, "I can't hear you." Scott broke the sound, according to Robert. But after the show volume,
Uh-oh.
No, it's not.
We hear each other.
yeah.
Maybe StreamYard had a stroke for a second.
Can't hear you. They've got your sound off.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah. It always says it works now.
Okay.
Says it is funny watching Harsh Mom, though. My Nana lived to 103. How many people live to 100? And let's get the Joe Logan. Yes, the general population is responsible by leaving lives and cooperating instead of learning and going to natural ingredients. Lemon juice is a good deodorant. Yes, volume went off. Oh, Jesus.
Is
I
it
don't know.
back? Can y'all hear us now? Oh, it
I'm gonna
works now. Okay, it's back now. I mean, we didn't touch anything. I guess StreamYard decided to have a moment.
Good. Come on.
Yeah, it works now. Okay. I can't hear you, Lori says. It's funny watching Harsh Mom, though. Like, when did the sound get off? Did it go off while reading the comments, or did at least people listen to the main ones?
We might have caught up, except for some lemon comments that we naturally said that we had deodorant comments about lemon juice.
Yeah, I will say, you're the news director. Next news story, please. Yeah, I will say it is interesting trying to use like more natural type deodorants. So. They just don't last as long though, but they're not bad.
See, and that's how humans smell. It's our natural smell. Be authentic, yo.
You know, that's why I'm using more authentic ingredients. Harsh is known for techie issues. Well, I'm not even controlling anything now. It says Kim Archibald says you can cut a lemon and use lemon as a deodorant. Yes. Ugh. All right. What's the next news story?
All right, the next news story. Poland, huge. Okay, thank you, computer. Huge amounts of chemical waste dumped in the river. Warsaw, Poland's prime minister said Friday that huge amounts of chemical waste were probably dumped intentionally into the Oder River, which runs along border with Germany, causing environmental damage so severe it will take the river years to recover. Tons of dead fish have been seen floating, washed ashore on the Oder's banks over the past 2 weeks, but the issue only erupted into a major scandal late this week. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, these names, just y'all need to stop.
That's totally
Whose
not
government is under pressure.
Scott with his pronouncing.
Yeah, I mean Morawiecki, 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 Morawiecki,
Or Vicky. Or
Mor.
Vicky.
I don't know.
Hola.
Anyway, whose government is under pressure for its handling of what appears to be a major environmental catastrophe, vowed that Polish authorities would hold the perpetrators to account. Where did it come from? It's
They don't name the company responsible for the dump?
they said it was intentional and it was mercury. But they're trying to determine the cause.
That saddens me.
That's a bacteria that makes your sweat stink. Wipe your pits every once in a while. No problem. Once in a while, no problem. Well, yeah, obviously. That's why we take showers. Anyhow. And Brian Parker says Tampa Bay, Florida's doing the same thing. I care more about my backyard. Sorry. Well, they're having a lot more issues than that. To be honest,
What exactly are they doing in Tampa Bay?
a few years ago they had the red algae because of all the toxins being dumped in the water. The question I want to know, especially if we could get someone like Brian Parker on the show, if that's still a reoccurring theme. Because I know our guy Xavier Maxwell was covering that story on the page a few years ago.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a good point, but then again, how much mercury would it get? How would that much mercury get in the water without no one knowing about it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Robert says, how do they know it was intentional if they don't know who did it? So that's also a good question.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, how do you not knowingly dump? Exactly, it could have been dumped from a nuclear plant. Well, not mercury. I don't know. I don't think mercury is a byproduct from nuclear processes.
Dumping from the nuclear. I mean, it depends. I mean, some like tired, overworked, poor guy was in charge of some power plant or nuclear plant or some manufacturing company plant, just trying to get rid of all the waste. And he probably, you could have fallen asleep dumping it into the river. That's the only way it's an accident. That's the only way it's an accident. Otherwise, it's done on purpose. The news sources can't even make common sense. No, they do not.
No, they don't. And I think she was low-key talking to us because we're kind of like a news source in a sense.
I don't consider myself part of the news at this point. But.
Oh, okay.
Please don't insult
Well, thanks
me.
a lot for just throwing me under the bus. So I appreciate that.
I mean, I had my
moving right
days of
along.
reporting, but I mean, I had my days of reporting like important news stories, but after what I saw in Flint and in the Little Falls area, that kind of gave up on humanity after that. So,
Hmm.
Mm.
And it sounds like it's that whatever's going to go on there, it's going to go untouched. Well, like no one's going to come to justice, and that's the thing with these large corporations. Anyways, there's no person that can actually be sued or held accountable for said acts because of their large conglomerate corporation. Yeah, nothing will come to fruition for it because there's nobody to freaking charge to begin with. And then even if they did have some sort of court outcome, it's just, oh, you pay a fine. So and then there again, crime is then paid for by just a fee, and so then too, polluting is just paid for with a fee. It's probably cheaper than what it was to actually get it disposed of and properly. Which is there a way to do so? No, probably not.
Well, all I know is that one, you said it best about it, and two, even when we would cover news stories like Flint or Little Falls, or when we had someone like DJ Xavier Maxwell who came on the show to talk about what was happening with the poisonous algae in Florida, in the Gulf, the Gulf of the Florida region, and in the Gulf of Mexico and all that, it's like people hardly even gave a fuck enough. I'm like, yeah, we got great views on that show, but it's like, when it came to put actual action, people hardly gave a fuck. Or when we did like shows that expose scammers and stuff, I'm sure many people found it entertaining. I don't mention any names, but we did write songs about these pieces of shit. But it's like, they just went away because out of their own humility. So I hate the fact I'm giving up on humanity, but
And that goes another thing to show that stop buying their products that are produced in such a way that is extremely harmful to the environment.
Like Nestle, and the people should have been boycotting Nestle in the late 70s. Like the minute Scott Sonnier was born, they should have just they should have all boycotted
Why
Nestle.
am I always a reference point?
Oh, you were born in like
This is like the fourth reference point you used my birth date as.
because it's everything happened when you were born, Scott. What can I say?
I
Johnson
was
and
born
Johnson
and the
was,
world shook.
Johnson and Johnson is poisoning their baby powder with asbestos when you were a toddler, and fucking
Yeah.
Nestle was poisoning babies with their baby formula when you were an infant. So what the fuck am I supposed to do about it?
That probably explains a lot of what's wrong with me today. Tainted baby formula.
Yeah. Way to throw your parents under the bus there. But anyway.
They're both dead. I mean, they can't really complain about it.
Well, look at it this way. You're not like certain wannabe trolls online, so at least it didn't turn out like that. So you don't mention it. I like Brian Parker. He says no. LOL, no, it's intentional. The news talked about it, but people are clueless.
No, it's not people are clueless.
Oh.
They keep releasing conflicting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Oh
no,
yeah,
it's
over there. What are we going to do? Oh no, was that Portugal? Oh
no, it was in
shit.
Poland. But the thing
Poland,
is
yeah.
even if the news talked about it, it's conflicting reports like the last one I just read. They don't know who did it, but they know it's intentional. But they don't know it's intentional, so they don't know it's intentional. But it is intentional. I mean, come on, really?
I mean,
There's
pretty
no
retarded.
way in hell that somebody could dump so much mercury in a river that it starts killing everything off and go, oh, well, shit, we didn't know we did that.
I mean, that's a level of retardation that's not seen since. Well, you want to finish that punchline, Scott? We'll say some of the Rosarts, I suppose.
The grease wax. The grease wax crayons. Wait, who are these people? And introduce me to them, Lori.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're not having this.
join them.
Oh, I thought that said weed.
Or do I?
I didn't realize
What
it
sort
said
of
weeds.
hillbillies are they? Are they hillbillies? I'm assuming they're in the bush.
I might know people who are selling other stuff, but I don't know about weeds in jars. Brian Parker says, "Steal 10,000, go to prison. Steal 10 million and get an award."
That's horribly true. That's brutally honest.
Movies made after you, all sorts. Yeah.
Well, it's no different than that old phrase. If you owe millions to the banks own you. But if you owe billions to the banks, you own the banks.
That's true.
Millions of peanuts now.
But I don't know how someone gets billions of dollars of credit, in the first multi-billion-dollar line of credit in the first place, but it's an awful lot of collateral.
Kind of like when Trump went bankrupt, and it was the Rothschilds that brought him, got him out of that. Remember that? Oh yeah.
Something along those lines.
I think he's bankrupted more than once.
Yes, I think like his businesses fell for bankruptcy about 6 times.
Yeah.
I believe.
I don't
he just
know
got
if he
out of them
personally
because
went bankrupt, but I know his businesses failed several times over the years.
I think it's because themselves had to file for bankruptcy 6 times. I remember. It's like, geez. I mean, I understand why sometimes people file for bankruptcy from a strategic point of view, but you really shouldn't be resorting to that sort of tactic if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, Lori, but I'm not going to touch that one. I'm going to leave that one alone.
Then they puppeted him as a prez after they bailed him out. Well, there's no such thing as an election. They're all selected. So
And, has a contract to fulfill. Is there any other stories?
Give me 1 second.
I'm picturing myself painting slices of lemons underneath. Might get my shirt wet. Don't want to wear gray.
In Biden's big bill, climate, healthcare, and deficit reduction. The biggest investment ever in the U.S. to fight climate change. A hard fought cap on an out of pocket prescription drug cost for Medicare recipients. A new corporate minimum tax to ensure big businesses pay their share. And billions left over to pay down federal deficits. All told to Democrats, Inflation Reduction Act may not do much to immediately tame inflationary price hikes, but the package that won final congressional approval in the House on Friday and is heading to the White House for President Joe Biden's signature will touch countless American lives in with longtime party proposals. Not as robust as Biden's initial ideas to rebuild America's public infrastructure and family support systems, the compromise of health care, climate change, and deficit reduction strategies is also a stunning election year turnaround. A smaller but not unsubstantial product brought back to the political life after having collapsed last year. Democrats alone supported the packages as Republicans lined up against it. Republicans derided the 730-page bill as big government overreach and point particular criticism at its $80 billion investment in the IRS to hire new employees and go after tax scufflaws. Voters will be left to sort it out in November elections when control of Congress will be decided. Here's what the estimated $740 billion package made up of $440 billion in new spending and $300 billion toward easing deficits that is up for final approval Friday in the House. Lower prescription drug costs. Launching its the same rhetoric as every year, every time somebody passes one of these damn programs or some crap they keep. Do I really need to read the rest of this?
I mean, that's up to you.
The new siphoning hole? They're opening up a new siphoning hole of how to suck more money.
I mean, yeah, I can understand. Okay, like launching a long-term sought goal, the bill would allow the Medicare program to negotiate some subscription drug prices with pharmaceutical companies, saving the federal government some $288 billion over the 10-year budget window. There's absolutely no reason that prescriptions should be as high as they are anyway.
There shouldn't, but how that goes.
Medical mafia.
And the result is also expected to lower costs for older adults on medication, including a $2,000 out-of-pocket cap for older adults buying prescriptions from pharmacies. So, in other words, you'll only have to come out $2,000 a month out of pocket before they'll cover your prescriptions, but you should be okay. Because most people on Social Security get well over $2,000 a month. And that's sarcasm. Seniors would also have insulin prices capped at $35 a month. That is about the best thing they did in that entire bill.
Yep. I mean, that's really not surprising. I remember when when 45 was in office. I remember 45 was in office, and they hardly and he was trying to get a bill passed to where there was a less, to where they would have a cap on most pharmaceuticals, and everyone and more than half of the people vetoed it. So half the people in office vetoed it. So
that still has to be finally approved, so it may not go through too. It does sound like there's a few things that might be good about it, but it can anything that they throw as crumbs be trusted, as it's usually comes out that the taxpayer pays for more in the long run, anyways.
All right, and our last article of the night: actress Anne Hesh on life support. Survival of crash not expected. Los Angeles, from the AP. Anne Heche is on life support after suffering a brain injury in a fiery crash a week ago, and her survival isn't expected, according to a statement from a representative. The actor, who is in a coma and in critical condition, is being kept on life support for possible organ donation, according to the statement released Thursday night on behalf of her family and friends. Hayes, who's been hospitalized at the Grossman Burn Center at West Hills Hospital north of Los Angeles, suffered a severe anoxic brain injury, the statement said. Such an injury is caused by a sustained lack of oxygen to the brain. She is not expected to survive, the statement said. It has long been her choice to donate her organs, and she is being kept on life support to determine if any are viable. On the morning of August 5th, Haitia's car smashed into a house in a neighborhood in West Los Angeles, and a fire erupted with the car embedded inside the home. Earlier Thursday, police said they were investigating Haitian for driving under the influence. Detectives with a search warrant took a sample of her blood and found narcotics in her system, LAPD spokesman Officer Jeff Lee said. Toxicology tests, which can take weeks to complete, must be performed to identify the drugs more clearly and to differentiate them from any medication she may have been given for treatment at the hospital. Evidence is still being gathered from the crash, police said, and they would present a case to prosecutors if it is warranted when the investigation is complete. A representative for Haitian declined comment on the investigation. Now, I was reading this earlier, and she looks familiar, but I cannot place her in any movie whatsoever.
Psycho, Volcano, Pie in the Sky, John Q,
Volcano.
Superman Doomsday, what other catfight, The Lost World. So, she did quite a bit.
Oh, okay. Okay. She was Ellen DeGeneres' girlfriend.
Ah, oh boy, oh boy.
This whole conversation changes.
The handlers.
If,
Girlfriend.
if that's the case, then this whole thing changes, like right there.
Yeah. Oh, and another celebrity car crash. No way. They all seem to. It's cancer, or they hang themselves, or a car crash.
Yeah, I think she died actually. I think
Yeah.
they pronounced her brain dead, but like I said in the article, let's see. Yeah, in the article, her body is still being kept alive. So I'm not sure what's going on there.
See, the thing about organ donating is that they have to come from a live specimen, so they kill the host to harvest the organs. That's how that system plays.
Well, no, I understand that, but I think you have to be declared clinically brain dead before they do anything like that. Like, in other words, nothing is going to bring you back, regardless of what they do.
Mhm. Drugs can do that too. Make it look that way. Uh, prayers to those who.
Is that the blonde? Okay, Lori, is that the blonde from Volcano, the one that played opposite of Tommy Lee Jones?
Or was that Pierce Brosnan? Was that Pierce Brosnan?
No, in the movie Volcano, that was Tommy Lee Jones.
Was that? Yeah, I don't remember. I had it pulled up. Oh, it's still there. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, but that wouldn't that also that I think that also classifies as declaring that as the time of death as well.
Right.
No, it wasn't Meg Ryan. Lori's gonna make me Google this.
Good job, Lori. Got to make Scott look at another screen. I love this.
Shut up.
This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, she was the blonde. She was the blonde scientist on that movie, or a blonde geologist. She was also in Donnie Brasco.
Oh, I missed that one.
Right, that's what I was saying. But they actually declared the time of death once they declare you brain dead. I mean, the time of death technically wouldn't be after they harvest or when they harvest the organs.
Yeah, it's when the brain is. Yeah, yeah. But then the order is signed to harvest. Oh,
Yeah, that's her. That's the same one. She didn't age well.
oh, come on, be nice.
Harsh,
What
what are you doing?
about? Oh, we're still talking about the actress who died.
uh, Silver
She was a
bell.
blood sacrifice. I'm gonna fucking say it. She was a fucking blood sacrifice.
And she knew it was coming too. Like I said earlier in the show, they know it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about it that's not natural. You know, actors don't die in car accidents like this unless, well, there's a hit on them or something.
Or maybe she was just not good at driving.
I'm gonna chalk it up to she either A, pissed the wrong people, and this was her punishment, or B, you know, she was just sacrificed. I really don't know.
And Hatch didn't die in a car crash. She's still living it up on an island somewhere.
It was her
Faked her
body
death.
double. It was her body double
I
in the
mean,
car.
Lori says, but you are technically still alive on life support, but I've only been an RN for 33 years, so what do I know? LOL. Well, according to Wikipedia, not that that means anything, but she is actually considered dead. Like they listed her as dead. They didn't list her as like living. She's actually gone. So, and they're done that. I was a blood. I've died and here I am. Yep, blood sacrifice. I was 27, popular number. Oh, it's Brian Parker. I like this Brian Parker guy. I don't know like how.
What's her age now?
Who? Ann?
The age, I guess.
53.
Now.
53.
53?
Yeah. Only 2 years older than Harshmed.
Look, just because Brown does not frown does not mean I'm 55.
Don't let Harsh fool you. He's actually 68. He just looks good for his age. It's the Indian thing.
What can I say? You know, some people don't age. Oh man, this is awesome.
We aren't actually talking to Harshmed. This is
Harshmed.
Russell Peters.
Russell.
Yeah, Russell Peters pretend. Yeah. Oh God, what can I say? You guys caught me because someone's gonna get hurt real bad. As you know, yes.
Why
I'm
are we
Russell.
a tough? No, Laurie. You're gonna hurt my feelings, and I'm not gonna feel right about the show anymore.
Y'all are a tough crowd. Anne Hetch was always nuts. Well, she was. Wikipedia is bullshit. I know. But.
Man.
I mean, I'm just saying when I go online, it says she's dead. So
Yeah, Wikipedia even calling her dead.
right. Well, apparently Brian Parker's been commenting on the page the whole time. I thought he was commenting from fucking YouTube. No, he was commenting from Facebook the entire
Yeah, yes, it is. This little symbol there.
All I know is that according to this, it says she was. It says, you know, not that Google means anything, but she died August 12th, 2022, Los Angeles, California, and
Full moon.
yeah.
12.
I don't even know who Brian Parker is.
I don't know, but I seem to like this guy. And my YouTube channel has a playlist on this medical panacea. Oh, jeez. Joe says when age does show on Harsh, he's gonna look like a raisin. Well, you're assuming I'm gonna live that long, first of all.
No, it's an overnight transformation. You're gonna look like this one day, and then like tomorrow you'll wake up and you'll look like a California raisin. It's an overnight transformation.
Yeah, maybe if that tomorrow was like 2040 or 2050 or something, I don't know.
2050. When? Hey. Hey, I'm me. Hi, me.
It's me again.
Oh, I didn't know I had 35 mutuals with him. That's cool.
Yes.
Hmm.
Bit of numerology. 53, that root number is 8. 5 plus 3, 8. The date of the 12th, that is also 8. Added together, it's 17. So 1 plus 7 is 8. So they're both 8s. Both the root numbers are 8. Her name, or sorry, her year, age, and today's date, and full moon. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, look at it. Look at the comment right behind that one, though.
It sneaks up on you, Harsh. Yesterday I was 25. Now look, LOL. I may not have a brain, definitely has some common sense.
Jesus. And that pretty much does it for news that's important, I guess you could say. There's a lot of news, but I mean, none of it's.
Is it important? Well, kind of.
Not really.
Decorations.
Find me here, Bet.
Joe.
Find me here. Facebook.com/BetBrianP21. Oh.
Mr. Parker.
Shameless self-promotion. This man has done everything right tonight.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. He sure
Yes,
has.
Brian, you ought to join more of our lives. It's always fun conversations. Imitate. Oh, there you go. That's your department, Harsh. I can only do Justin Davis whenever I try.
I'm gonna try to give you a country Joe Logan says. I'm gonna try to give you a new quote to imitate me with. God made a few perfect people and gave the rest of you hair.
Well, welcome, Brian. Tell all the rest of your friends to come on down, and we'll throw them all on the show. We don't care.
Fun conversation tonight. Someone shared some beautiful. The more the merrier.
Yes,
Please
absolutely.
share it around. And if you want to come on the show next week, that'd be great. No complaints.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is your group anyway, Brian?
Is it the Sovereignty Group? I don't know. I'm trying to guess. Is it the Hotepsky Group or the Sovereignty Group? I'm trying to remember. I know it was one of those groups. At least I'm thinking about it. At least I'm thinking that's the case. Oh, I've seen it. Is it a new account or the same one? Okay, it's the same one. Okay.
I have no idea who he is, so.
Harsh is probably searching. Plug it in.
All I know is he's near the 5,000 friend mark, so. Yep. I knew it was this group.
So they're spreading the word, probably.
It was either this group or a group similar to it. Okay. That's cool. Man, I knew it was from one of the sovereignty groups. I knew it. Again.
Ah, they were shared.
So I joined. Send me a link. I have several groups, but it's not the sovereignty BS. Oh, okay. Well. All right. Well, hey, we're grateful you're here. He says to send him a link. So
We're on Brian, we're literally cross broadcasting to 8 different pages plus YouTube.
He's on the Harsh Rowdy page. I thought he was on
Okay.
YouTube, but no, he's on the Harsh Rowdy page.
Oh, okay.
So it shouldn't be too bad. I don't know if we switch this to StreamYard and get rid of the graphics or keep the graphics up. It's up to you.
It doesn't matter to me. If you want to just wind it down now, that's fine with me. If you want to share the link, anybody else in the comments want to join?
Yeah.
Crickets. There's crickets out there.
Brian Parker wants to join, so I'll just post it here, and we'll just switch to a StreamYard then.
Yeah.
Unless you want to add Skype call, that's up to you.
Hart, rejoin. He's going to drop the StreamYard link in the comments. Just rejoin
Drop
on
it in the
StreamYard.
chat, and I'll find you.
Yep, he just dropped it.
Okay. All righty then. So,
That's
so
not
Brian,
me.
Tactical Sovereignty on YouTube. We do. I knew it was that group. Yes, on YouTube we do a weekly call. He says sovereignty people are clueless. I mean, I've never gone through the process, so I can't comment. But all right, and see you all in a few seconds.
All right.
And we are back.
And I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Harsh.
Hello
Can
there.
you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear
Yes.
anything.
Yes, I can hear
So
you.
it's cool.
Yes. Joe. Apparently, Joe's so desperate. Not desperate. Is right. Is so excited about creating a new quote. He says, "Country Joe Logan says, Harsh, I got more sense in my pinky toe than most people have in their whole body." You know,
Okay.
that actually might be true. I don't know how, but that actually might be true. And late at night, we got
Yeah.
Bro, are you getting ran over by a train?
No.
All right, just a disclaimer. This is the post-game version. This is the post-game show. We are no longer the CrayolaSec News Harsh Reality. For those who are tired of watching that show, this is Harsh Med. See you all later. Now we're into the post-game, so everyone gets to join. And they can talk about whatever they want. We got Beaufont. We got our guy Hart. And, of course, we have our new person, Mr. Brian G. Parker. How you doing, sir?
Good. Just don't call me sir, man.
Okay.
I'm not anybody's master.
Okay. All right, I forgot the words. Yes.
No, I'm joking. Because everybody nitpicks about the words, and that's the biggest problem is people nitpicking about words,
All right.
and that's why people can't get together with shit. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. It's like on one hand, it's like, okay, yes, I understand certain words have certain definitions, they use properly, but on the other hand, like you said, people nitpick words so often to the point where it's like you can't even get any conversation started. I mean,
Right.
I'm offended over sounds.
Right. I mean, it does bring up the 1 in 23 stats. I mean, maybe that's why everyone nitpicks on words, because it's like 1 out of 23 people are autistic. Fuck if I know, but that would not surprise me.
Well, when you really look at what people are, and it blew me away a couple of years ago when I found it, was that the majority of Americans really are they can't read.
No.
Bottom line.
No, it's bad when the average. I'm not saying newspapers are great or anything, but it's kind of fucked up when the average like comprehension level of a newspaper is written at a 5th or 6th grade level.
Bo, you're upside down.
They all are upside down.
That's because you live on a globe.
He was in Australia.
If you didn't live on a globe, you wouldn't be upside down. All right, so you just have to comprehend
This
that.
is not I'm not a flat earther.
Earther.
Who said anything about flat Earth?
No, he was just.
Oh
You're
my
upside
God.
down.
It's that time of the night, everybody. It is that time of the night.
It's happy hour in the world.
Out there.
Now, I think for Bo, it might be. I think for Bo, I think it's beyond happy hour. It might be after party hour at this point,
Oh,
or
No.
pre-party hour. For all we know, maybe he wants to hit up some of the clubs again.
Well, he
Who knows?
lives in New Orleans. They party 24/7 down there. So.
I don't go out these days. That would involve like a $50 cab ride and to go to places that are going to be too crowded that I can't imagine I'm going to have too much fun in. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you'll spend that much money and 30 minutes later you're like, I want to go home.
Yeah, but nowadays, because I remember, Bo,
Like-
you used to talk a lot about the club scene, so it's like.
But
for
that's
you
the
to be
problem, though,
tired-
is that back then, like when I was in Houston, like I would make that commute. But in Seattle, I was living downtown, so everything was on foot. I went like 11 years without a car.
Jeez,
So it was a different world, right? I would just kind of,
it was.
I would hang out at my house until like midnight, 1 o'clock, and then
All right. Anyway, Scott's leaving us now. Have a great rest of your weekend, Scott.
You too, man. I'll see
All
y'all.
right, see you in the chats later, or see you tomorrow.
All right,
whichever.
hold on just a second before Scott leaves.
Okay, what you
Uh,
got?
Scott, yeah, this
Yes.
is Brian Parker. Yeah, I just wanted to know like who you are and some contact with you maybe because I kind of appreciate some of your thoughts this evening.
I am just a regular old Facebook weirdo.
Name
Okay.
Scott Sonnier.
Yep.
Well,
Scott Sonnier. I'm associated with the CrayolaSec page. Just I'm around there somewhere. I think there's a post with me on it. You shoot me a friend request, whatever.
well, I'm maxed out on my friend request, so it's kind of hard for me to do that or whatever.
Well,
Now, if you have follow is acceptable on your page.
Well, yeah. What I'll do is I'll go back on the Harsh Reality page later and grab your account link.
Yeah, shoot me a message, say hi, tell me to go screw off, whatever you want to do. Just say hi, and I'd appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
All right,
appreciate
well,
it,
y'all have
Scott.
a good night, man.
We're happy that Brian Parker's here. We're happy that Scott was able to host the actual news show when we had it.
Well, it was an interesting show tonight, and I actually kind of stumbled across it. I'm normally busy with a million irons in the fire all the time, and I saw this tonight, and I was in between things. I said, "Oh, let me tap on it." And I tapped on it and said, "Hey, this looks like fun." You know what I mean?
It was fun.
So it's kind of interesting to hear other people's input and thoughts on different things that are happening, whether it's in the news or whatever the case may be, because so much of it is really just freaking arranged in order to keep our minds occupied
It is.
and occupied away from the thing. They don't want us to pay attention to the real shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so
those
true.
are just the poker. Those are just the poker cards they're showing.
Yep.
Well, y'all headed out. Y'all have a good night. Have fun. I'll see y'all either middle of the week or next week. One of the
Thanks,
two.
Scott.
Don't threaten us.
Why wouldn't he threaten us with a good time? Come on.
Y'all have a good night,
The
guys.
problem is when you're trying to attack somebody, you do that. Then it's like, hey, that's messed up. I would know that more than anyone else dealing with some of the.
Did he say have a good night? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Do not tell me what to do. Do not tell me what to do. I will choose whether I want to have a good night or not.
All right. Well, then have a night. You don't have a choice now.
There you go.
Jesus, right.
Oh,
Rough crowd. 5,
Oh,
4,
my
3, 2, 1.
All right, Joe. I got you. Joe, I got you. I'll send you one whenever I get it all caught up. It'll probably be tomorrow. I'll shoot out links.
I'll just post this link in the comments. Jeez, guys.
I don't care. I mean, that's fine if you want to
I
do that.
know. I'm just gonna speed it up because I know, like, it's always here today, gone tomorrow. So I'm gonna post that right away in the harsh reality comments.
Now, if you want, maybe tomorrow, if somebody posted this to one of my groups, maybe I can go to this post for one of my groups tomorrow, and I'll put some of my links into that post.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
Because I have a lot of writings like in WordPress.
Yeah.
I have a lot of processes on what you can do, like for instance, taking care of your credit, just basic things that I don't charge you a penny for. I give you everything for free.
I'm just glad my credit scores are the 700s, despite being a complete schmuck.
There you go.
All right. On that note, I gotta go. I'll see you all later.
See y'all later.
Good night, guys.
All right. Oh wow, and this was 3. Okay.
No.
Yes.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's like what, 3-4 of us here now.
No, it's
I
3
see-
now. I don't know where Bo went.
Yeah, I see somebody there with a blue shirt that I have not heard one word from yet.
I've chatted here and there. Oh.
Oh, okay.
All right, we have to put the banner. All right, we forgot. We try to put the banners up again. There you go. There it is. There it is now.
And if you want, like tomorrow or whatever, you can send me your raw link for this, and I can upload it to my YouTube channel or whatever, and do some cross promotion if you want.
Well, that would be more than appreciated. Yeah, Scott has this uploaded to his YouTube page, but I'd be happy to send you a link so you can upload it to the YouTube.
Yeah.
Your YouTube.
Yeah,
as well.
Send me a raw link tomorrow, and I'll upload it to my YouTube page. Because one of the things that I'm kind of big on is cross promotion.
Yeah.
And that we should all be kind of helping each other, because like we were talking about earlier, everybody bitches about like definitions. You know what I mean? And to me, the only definition that really matters is the definition of whoever is writing the document.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, somebody sends you something, you can look up definitions for freaking 10 different legal freaking definitions. It may not even freaking have anything to do with what they are freaking talking about. You know what I mean? You have to find out what they're talking about. That's a definition you want to find. And so we shouldn't be arguing about stupid definitions, about different meanings of words, this or that. We should be coming together and really showing each other the path as far as taking care of the issues that we're dealing with.
Yeah. We need to. I mean, that's what matters. Otherwise,
Did you just yawn?
Oh no, it's just
okay.
that type of night. What can I say? But yeah, you're right though. We have to come together and quit arguing about. We have to quit nitpicking about these definitions, because as important as it is to know what words mean, at the same time, we can't be 1 and 23 about it.
We have to quit arguing about the stupid shit, because here's the deal. The problem that everybody is facing is that the other side is 100% united.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Even if they don't totally agree with each other, they are 100% united. You'll see some of these people, they think that they are going to go into office and they're going to make some changes. They're going to make things happen. And they get in and they see these arguments going on behind the Democrats, Republicans, they're fighting this and that. And then they walk out of the room and they see everybody glad handing each other and saying, what time's your tea off tomorrow morning? Or where are you going to go for dinner tonight?
Cynthia
McKinney.
Or eating that damn seafood, and they're all at the same course in DC, and they're all fundraising in their little back offices.
Yeah, I would recommend people go and make friends with Cynthia McKinney. She was one of them. She was, I believe, was a Democrat for
Oh, I remember
Georgia,
Cynthia. Yeah, she actually does
and
some work. She actually does some
she
work with.
saw it's all bullshit.
Right.
And she did one term, and she's like, "I'm out of here.
Right.
You guys are
Well,
a scam. It's all a scam."
yeah, it was. I mean, I think in '08 she was running for president as a Green Party candidate. The one thing I will say is, one, she's always been on point with a lot of the things she said, and two, more importantly, not importantly, shameless plug, but my friends at even though I'm not political anymore, I still have friends who are in politics. The Independent Green Party of the United States page, our guy William Pounds and Chad Wilson, they actually do some like roundtable discussions with Cynthia McKinney. So.
Yeah, I love Cynthia McKinney.
Yeah,
she's great.
Absolutely.
Well, she sees things for what it really is.
Right.
And the problem is, it seems like today everybody hates Congress, but everybody loves their congressman.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's how you have I know that our elections are all selected anyway, and that's all rigged nonsense. But even if you took that out of the equation for a second, that's how you explain. How else do you explain the fact that 9% of Congress has like an 8 to 11% approval rate, 9% on average, and yet somehow 88% of them get reelected? That just tells you how stupid it all is. And most people are like, hey, what are we gonna do?
Well, we could do that even, whatever job you're holding. That wouldn't even work for you if you're holding a job if that percentage freaking was against you or didn't care for you.
Dude, 9% approval rating, you get fired within like the first hour of the day. You fucked up like 91% of your tasks. Get the fuck out of our office.
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep.
I mean, goddamn.
But I mean, this is all part of the scam. And one of the things I recommend to people that I've done, and I know not everybody can do it, but you grab a hold of, for instance, some like college professors you trust. And guaranteed though, I mean, all of these big colleges, these Ivy League colleges out there, they're all Jesuit run. Okay. Right. These are all Jesuit colleges. But you're going to find a few decent people in there. But you go in there and you study some world history of what has happened over the ages. I mean, even go back to the times of Egypt until now.
Okay.
I would recommend Dr. Tabor is a good gentleman to learn from. I don't agree with everything that he says, but I think that people should go in and look at what has happened over the ages with a lot of these governments. And what you're going to see is it's going to paint a picture. I'll put it that way. Yeah. It paints a picture as to where we are now and what has happened over time. For instance, when people talk, for instance, about the New World Government, all right, and this was talked about by George H.W. Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush. One of the things I found interesting with him was his name, George Herbert Walker Bush. How did he have the name George Herbert Walker Bush? Walker was part of a name from his mother's side of the family. So what was happening? They were showing a transition through the ages, right? And so when you're looking, for instance, at the New World Order, you're not going to understand it. You're not going to see it unless you realize the Old World Order.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You're not
gonna recognize the New World Order unless you know the Old World Order. And the Old World Order was that either you're either get your head cut off, or somebody like situation with Caesar's, you're gonna get stabbed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was not a good life choice as far as a job.
Yeah.
To be a ruler of a nation just did not make sense at all, and so that's why the New World Order came along, which was like, wait a minute. So instead of us being worried about people coming at us with pitchforks and overtaking the castle or anything like that, what's going to happen now, we'll give people a choice. We'll let people think they're in control.
Yep.
But so instead of one cousin or brother or uncle stabbing or cutting the head off another, we'll let the people make this choice. And they'll feel like they have a position of control. And that became the New World Order. So guess what? It didn't mean you were getting somebody brand new into office. You're still getting somebody from within the family. It just protected them so they didn't have to worry about getting their head chopped off or getting poisoned. But the more and more of that you watch, the more of the old world history you watch, even religious-wise, I recommend watching Ryan Reeves, Professor Ryan Reeves. He doesn't take sides, Protestant, Catholic, whatever. He doesn't take sides. He just lays it out there. And I spend about once a week, I spend about 30 or 40 hours listening to him.
Damn.
And it kind of lays out how everything happened. You know, one of the things I find fascinating, what was the main reason that the so-called pilgrims came to North America?
Persecution.
Land?
It was land. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?
Persecution.
Persecution because of religious diversity, right?
Yeah.
Well, most people don't realize that the people that came here actually came here from the Dutch Netherlands. They didn't come here from England. They had left England. They went to the Dutch Netherlands for about 13 years, and then they came here. And then some of them also went and grabbed resources to bring more people here, which they did get from England. Okay.
That's why so many names on the East Coast, like New York, was actually New Amsterdam. Brooklyn is a Dutch name. Manhattan is a Dutch name, and even parts of Pennsylvania are Dutch. Especially Eastern PA.
Yeah, you're making me smile because actually, you want to get in and really study that. There was a lot of people that I claim originally came from the area of northern Israel that circled up into Europe and came in, and they're the ones that actually first inhabited New York.
Right.
Those were the Phoenicians. Phoenician means red. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Phoenician red. Yeah, that sounds
right.
about right.
The people that originally inhabited the U.S. inhabited New York. This goes back. Look at this previous election with Trump. One of the famous things was the red hat, right? Make America great again. You know where the red hat came from?
Where did
it came
come
from? Those people. They wore a red hat. The red hat stood for freedom.
Huh.
Yeah, I recommend doing some research into that.
It's rather interesting.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's freaking great stuff. When you get in, and I found it actually when I was researching language and where different languages originated from and how they moved to different territories. I stumbled on it and I was like, whoa, what's this all about? And this explains a lot, you know.
I didn't know red stood for freedom. I knew red stood for what was considered the emperor's choice back in the day, but I never knew it also stood for freedom.
Well, those were the Frisian people, the Frisian.
Oh.
And so, yeah, research the Frisian people. You also see different groups. that you're a franchise, for instance. The word franchise.
Franchise?
Yeah.
Franchise is a word. Frisian. This goes back to the word or the title of the Phoenicians.
Right.
This goes even further back to Tamar's second son, which was Farsi. Yeah, and this is where the Farsis all came from as well,
Wow.
within the Jewish culture. Yeah, it goes deep. I mean, it takes a few books of reading.
Yeah.
But once you see it, it's like all the dots start connecting together, and it's like, holy crap. Who would have thought that, as complex as it seems, it's really more simple.
Yeah. I like this. I like talking about some of the etymology and some of the roots.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think so much of this stuff has been hidden from us. I mean, it's definitely not taught to us in school.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, the things that are taught to us in school are the complete opposite of what happened or what we're
Yeah.
supposed to learn like 99% of the time.
Yes.
They definitely don't want you connecting any dots.
No. Unless you went to like private school or something, then maybe it's like 70%.
Well, I'll tell you what. I can give you a perfect example of that because I never went to public school. I never spent 1 minute in public school in my life.
Wow.
I went to private school my entire life from kindergarten all the way through
And
because my father had been a principal of public school. My mom had been a teacher in public school as well. And they both decided that there was no way they wanted their children to be brought up. They didn't want their offspring brought up in public school. And so
it's good on them, I think. Yeah.
my father, what he did is he set out on trying to help churches learn how to start their own private school.
Wow.
My father had been like an assistant pastor for one of the big TV evangelists back in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Rex Humbard. That's probably way before your time. But
70s and 80s, they were pretty big.
yeah, Rex Humbard back in the 70s, he was like watching any other big TV evangelist or whatever. But he was centered out of Ohio, I think. But I think that's the most important thing, and that's one of the things I tell people all the time. Whether it comes down to religion, or we're talking about like we're talking about legal issues. The number one responsibility for the education for yourself for legal issues or religion, whatever it may be, is you.
Yeah.
You are the one that is responsible for knowing it. And here's the thing as well. When you sign your name on the dotted line, you're claiming that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And people can't come out and say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have full disclosure. No, you are supposed to know that when you sign your name on the dotted line, that you know exactly what you're doing. You are taking full responsibility for that.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing people don't want. Nobody wants full responsibility. A good friend of mine, I don't know if you know the name, Hart Burian.
Who?
Hart Burian.
Hart Burian.
Burian disclosed all the information about the CAFR accounts.
I should know that, but for some reason I don't.
It's a second set of books that basically, when they nailed the mob in Chicago, the guy that ran the books for Chicago pretty much taught the government how to do a second set of books. And that's what the government did. And so they set up these CAFR accounts. And what the CAFR accounts do is they bring in the
second set of books.
Beg your pardon?
They set up a second set of books.
Exactly. And what they do is they bring in the tax money, or they bring in the money that goes to certain accounts for people that work within government offices, and they take that money and they invest it into different companies, or they create companies, and they use that money to create companies. Okay, and
So
so
basically, they're commingling funds and embezzling almost.
no, it's not commingling. You cannot commingle.
Right.
I have been in court over commingling. You cannot commingle.
Right. Well, I know you can't, but it seems like they were doing
No. It's a second set of books.
Oh.
And so what they're doing, they're bringing in the money, they invest it into other corporations, companies. Well, you know, the United States is heavily invested, like in Coca-Cola, Walt
Sure.
Disney, you name it. Okay. Well, here's the deal. In the CAFR accounts, which is not CAFR anymore, it's not CAFR anymore. They changed the name. It's now CFAR. And they switched it around. But I think they're trying to disguise things. But in the CAFR accounts, they may bring in, for instance, the county. Look at a county level. Your county may bring in a profit of $10 million a year. But whereas with the regular accounts, where they only have, for instance, the money coming in off from, you know, the millage tax and things like that, they're going to show you, oh, we're minus almost $1 million this year, so we've got to raise the millage tax. But they're not showing you the CAFR account. They're not showing you the accounts where they're making a profit off your money.
So basically, they separated the funds, one into regular accounts and another CAFR accounts.
You got it. You understand it now. Exactly. Yep.
Which doesn't really sound all that legal, but then again, you know.
No. Well, no, here's the thing. It is 100% legal because it's two separate things. And that's one of the things that it kind of throws me off. I would probably be thrown into the lump of the patriot community, but I'm not a patriot, okay?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the patriots are all freaking gung-ho. Oh, you guys are not following the Constitution. We got to make them follow the Constitution. That's not me. My attitude is, yes, they are absolutely following the Constitution. The problem is that you've never read it. You don't know how the Constitution works.
Well, there's like 3 constitutions too. So.
No, there's not.
What about 1871?
That's horse crap. Well, okay, you can go to 1781. That's the Constitution for the Articles of Confederation.
Right.
Okay. And then later on, in 1787, they decided to do a rewrite on it. And that got adopted in 1789, and that's the Constitution that we follow today. Or not we, but that this government follows today.
Right. Well, they're supposed to anyway.
Right. And then there's people that say, oh, there's a Constitution of 1871. No, that Constitution was for the city of Washington, D.C.
So that's why D.C. is considered a foreign agent if people are in D.C. because it's not a part of America.
No, not at all.
No.
Washington, D.C. has its own constitution, just like, okay, what city do you live in?
I'm in the Chicagoland area.
Okay, Chicago has its own constitution.
Oh.
Every city has its own constitution. Right. In fact, I'll tell you what, Walmart has its own constitution.
Well, Walmart has its own surveillance state, so they might as well have their own constitution.
Yeah, right.
I remember watching a documentary of Walmart once, and they said like they have the only thing bigger than Walmart's surveillance technology is the CIA's, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Well, I would say the CIA totally blows them away if you really want to get into
in that case.
Because well, most of the people that I study and learn from are supposedly ex-CIA people. That's where you're really going to learn shit at.
Well, it depends how traumatized they are. The more traumatized they are, the more experienced they were in the CIA. So I'm just putting it out there.
But a lot of that stuff is bunk. A lot of that stuff is BS. You know what I mean?
But then how come every city says incorporated in like certain years? Like Chicago says incorporated in 1837, or a state is incorporated in like 1789 or 1800 or whichever. Like that's what confuses me. If it's not all
Right. Well, well, do you comprehend what incorporated means?
to a point.
Well, incorporated means that a group of people came together for a certain goal.
Right.
That's all a corporation means.
Right.
Comes from the word corp, C-O-R-P, which means a body. So a group of people came together, and even something that is incorporated,
Corpse. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, even something incorporated doesn't mean it's a corporation. It just might mean it's a corporate structure. A
Right.
corporate structure just means a group of people that have come together to agree to a certain purpose and to do something, or whether it's to run a state, whatever the case is.
Right. Although I thought a corpse meant a dead body, not necessarily a living body.
Well, yeah, that's what a corpse means, but that's when people go and throw the SE on the end of corp, which there is no SE there in a corporation.
Right.
Corporation doesn't have an SE.
No.
I just did a call last week with Micah Dank. I don't know if you know who that is.
Micah Dank?
Yeah, it's on my channel. It's on his channel. Micah Dank shows how basically how the calendar is shown in the stars. That's one of his big things. And he's done a 7-book series talking about this. And the 7th book just came out about a month ago.
Pretty cool.
But him and I have done 2 or 3 calls together. Micah Dank's a good guy.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Well, and there's a lot of things with Micah Dank that, I mean, when you read scripture, there's a lot of things that seem weird. And it's like, it doesn't make sense to you. But when he lays it out, it's like, oh my God, now I know exactly what they're talking about. You know what I mean? It's like Paul, for instance. I think it might have been Paul. When he went into the city, they were told to go in there and they would find a man and to follow him into his house. And they found a man who was carrying a pitcher of water and followed him into his house. Now, for most Christians, that wouldn't make any sense at all. But when you look at it from an astrological point of view, a man carrying a pitcher of water, that's Aquarius. And he's going into his house. Well, that's the house of Aquarius. And that's a changeover, for instance, from maybe being in the house of Pisces to going into Aquarius.
No.
I mean, scripture might talk about, the house of Dan, which is the lion. And there's things about that kind of throws you off a little bit. But when you realize what it's talking about, you realize that's what it's referring to. It's referring to a certain sect of a house of Israel. Are you looking at Micah Dank right now? Is that what you're doing?
Micah Dank, yeah. How do I spell that again?
Micah is Michah. His surname is Dan. Okay.
DANK?
Yeah.
Micah Dank. Oh, I found him, yeah.
Nice.
Interesting. Seems like an interesting page for sure.
Yeah, it's getting late. I got family. I'm gonna say goodnight. It's been lovely joining with you, Mr. Brian Parker.
Oh, it's my pleasure having you here. Thank you.
All right. It's my pleasure having you both here. And anyway, Hart, let's see you when we.
Yeah, Hart, maybe we can get together sometime, do another little chat.
I kind of want to, if you want to share that Mike A. Dank.
Yeah, we're gonna share that.
Yeah. I want to check him out too.
Oh, yeah, he's just did his 7th book. And now here's the thing, what he's doing, and I totally love it, is that if you went and laid out a lot of this information, just blank, this is how it is, nobody would listen to it. Well, what he does is he puts it in a category of like a Daniel Brown kind of freaking situation, where you're looking at, like, you're looking for the lost crystals, or you're looking for special things within the country or the government. I'm trying to think of something specific that makes sense. You're looking for that cup. You're looking for the cup of religion. You know what I mean? Well, he throws it into that brown category, and so it's more of a it's a fun kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a treasure hunt. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a treasure hunt kind of idea when you're reading the books. It's like a treasure hunt, and it's fun. And so it's easy for him to put stuff like that in there. Whereas if you try and throw like stuff out and say, "Oh, this is factual," then it gets boring and people don't want to read it. You know what I mean? He puts it in more of a fictional category, and when you put it in a fictional category, then it's more accepted.
Well, one, it's more accepted, and two, it also bypasses the legalities. Because if it's fictional, then people can't be like, "Wait a second, that sounds an awful lot like fact," or "You're trying to slander." Like, no, it's fiction. It's supposed to be creative.
Well,
it's creative arts.
The last conversation I just had actually with Mike and Dank on my channel, we were talking about the legalities. But yeah, I was going to bring that up, but yeah, that's one of the big issues right there.
Yeah. Okay, well, cheers, y'all. And later, Joe.
All right,
did he also do the Book of Enoch?
Yeah, he's done Enoch. I think he's gone into other books as well.
All right. I'm going to just share one of these things, or share one of these.
Oh, cool. That's fun to look at.
Well, I mean, okay. Enough of...
No, I thought you were going to play one of his.
Right. So... Right.
Oh, that's him with Rex Bear, right?
Yes. I don't know how much you want to play of this, or...
Oh, that's right. Rex Bear is great. I'll tell you what. I've met Rex Bear. I've hung out with him. And so, a lot of people see different people on YouTube and stuff, and they're like, they don't know how to take them. Well, I'll tell you personally, my experience with Rex Bear, he is a downright, down-to-earth, freaking decent dude that tells you the way it is.
No.
You got audio?
I only get, you know what, I'm gonna.
I love Rex Bear. In fact, I've got one of Rex Bear's tinfoil hats that I wear. Rex Bear's cool as shit.
In language, literature, and criticism. It wasn't until he moved to Boston for a new job that he became interested in the esoteric sciences, including, just to name a few, that can be found in the books: astronomy, astrology, astrotheology, out-of-body experiences, Akashic record, remote viewing, religions, capstones of the pyramids, secret societies, and the secrets, channelers, DMT, monitoring, lucid dreaming, acoustic levitation, Alzheimer's, conspiracy theories, jetpack, propulsion, Halo, physics, quantum physics, psychology, computer hacking, Antarctica, and spiritual guides, just to name a few. Now, that's few topics there I think we could talk about. And before we get deep into that, I do want to thank my friends over at Noble Gold Investments. I just got one of these. Now, if you've got a 401 or an IRA, if you're concerned about the markets, especially it's election time, hello, seems like the market's been crazy this year. If you got into gold or silver a year ago and you look at the numbers today versus what the stock market's doing, you'd be quite pleased. Give them a call.
I've been telling people for years to buy silver.
5-ounce silver token.
Yeah.
Coin as a token to show you what's going to be in your 401 or your IRA. Give them a call. They're going to give you free books, free literature. They're even going to waive fees. It's easier than ever. Noble Gold Investments.
And actually, on Facebook, I've been showing people easy ways to find silver.
That's that good.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It seems like no matter what happens, it always goes up.
I'll tell you, man. Look at this.
Gold, silver, copper.
Gold and silver stay neck and neck with each other.
I'm talking about.
Most of the quarters have bats on them now, right?
I'm dealing with a
man.
gentleman from
Yeah,
another
that's
country
dark.
right now on silver, but
Happy.
we'll
This
talk
is
about that
happy
later.
coin. So what's
Right. I mean, copper.
But so yeah,
copper
there's
Oh.
Micah Dank right there on that one. Yep.
yeah. Right. Micah Dank. Yeah.
Well, jump
Most of the
over
quarters
to
have
my
bats on them now.
channel. Jump over to my channel and show him.
All right. All right. I'm gonna do that in a sec. What's your channel, Brian?
Brian Parker, Tactical Sovereignty.
Tactical sovereignty. So what's the difference between sovereignty and tactical sovereignty?
Tactical is about, because there's a way of going about it, and here's one of the things when it comes to sovereignty that most people don't understand is because when most people look at sovereignty, they think, well, there's only one sovereign. That's God, right?
Right.
Well, it's deeper than that. And sovereignty actually has different levels, which is
Recording
actually
started.
which is
Hey,
actually
everybody,
referred
want to
to as
welcome you
suzerainty.
to.
And suzerainty is the different levels of sovereignty. For instance, your mayor is sovereign of your town, right? But
he definitely
also-
they definitely think that every time.
No, they are. No, seriously, they are. Your mayor is sovereign of the town, but they owe
definitely would like it.
allegiance. They don't have total sovereignty.
Right.
They have a level of suzerainty.
Yeah.
That's what I'm explaining.
Your level of suzerainty is embezzling millions and millions of dollars off of funds that you get for public services.
Well, as long as you don't get caught.
Right. I mean,
But their level of sovereignty is suzerainty, which means no, they owe allegiance to the county, which owes allegiance to the state, and the state owes allegiance to the federal government. I mean, it goes up and up and up. So it's like in your home. You are a sovereign in your home, right? You
yes.
make all the rules, don't you?
Yes.
But technically, you only have a level of suzerainty because depending on what you do in your home, the state can come in and make other dictates.
Correct.
So that is where you see an example of suzerainty right there in your own situation. So anyway, yeah, this is the video that we just did about a week ago.
Nice. You got the pinstripe hat and everything. Okay.
Well, I'm actually, and one thing I wish I had mentioned this, I was actually wearing the Knights of Malta hat.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. Their things are very their logo is very similar to the pinwheels you'll see.
Right.
On certain like, stadiums and amusement parks and all that. Very interesting how famous that sign is.
Yeah, well, that actually came from that was the Umbrella organization.
Yeah.
And people ask me about my hat, and I'm like, well, I wear it because it's actually a good way to freaking initiate conversation.
Yeah, it does.
You know, because people are like, oh, isn't that the freaking Jesuits or the Knights of Malta? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that I will say, when I first saw that, I'm like, who am I talking to here again? I'm just like,
and I told them, oh, yeah, it absolutely is. And so then I explained to them what the Knights of Malta and the Jesuits are all about and what everything really occurred. And that hat was the Umbrella Organization, which was from the movie or the video game or whatever, Resident Evil. Remember that?
Yes, I do. That's a very famous video game.
Right. That's where that came from. Now, if you research that, there's actually an organization called CERCO, CRCER or SERCO, CERCO, which means Service Corporation. And Service Corporation sprouted off from a record company about 20 years ago, and they are now involved in every part of the military. They're involved in medical. They're involved in government. CERCO is everywhere. If people want to research CERCO, SERCO, and they are running the world. And that's why I wear that hat, because I can tell people about it.
What's the name of the corporate? What's the name of the company running the world?
CERCO, SERCO, CERCO.
Circle
The Service-
Corporation.
Service Corporation, right?
Huh.
And that's where the Umbrella Corporation came from.
Huh.
Because umbrella, it covers everything.
Interesting.
And that's why I wear that hat. And that freaking CERCO hat, I mean, it came from the freaking Jesuits. That was the whole idea.
Let me share. So, is this the name of the company then? Circle Corporation. That apparently runs everything.
Yeah. They're the powers behind the powers. They're the people you don't see. They're involved in your medical. They're involved in the government. They're involved in the judicial administration. You name it. And I try and preach this to everybody, and it's like nobody gets it. And I don't hear other channels talking about it. And it's like, how do you guys all miss this?
Well, I mean, and to be fair to most people, I mean, they wouldn't assume. Most people wouldn't presume that a
Hey.
company based in the middle of.
Hey, damn it. I'm Brian Parker. I'm out here telling all you guys, and why aren't you listening?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, most people would be like, "Well, why is a company in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, controlling the entire world?" Like people would actually.
Well, actually, they're not in the middle of Ohio. If you really want to get deep into it, okay, where does our...
They're right by. They're like an hour or two away from Columbus.
Oh, no. Let me explain something to you.
Well, please explain away then.
They're actually in England. If you look at what has happened the past couple of years or whatever, you have to learn where the information for the United States comes from. The United States gets its news information.
Oh, CERCO. SERCO, not CERCO.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense now. All right. So the corporate constitution's bullshit, but somehow one company in England controls everything.
Well, you were mentioning this actually earlier this evening when you were talking about all the information coming from all these different other news organizations. Right? Well, these other news organizations get their information from CERCO in England. All right. Now, this place, CERCO in England, do you know what their compound is named?
What is it named?
COVID.
Jesus.
COVID Hill. COVID Hill.
I know in Queens there's a neighborhood called Corona, but Queen, Crown, COVID Hill, CERCO, England, Crown. Fucking hell. I don't like playing this word game sometimes.
But I mean, it's funny when it all freaking comes together. But yeah, COVID Hill in England is where all the freaking information comes from with all the different news organizations that get funneled into freaking New York City and into Atlanta.
Well, let's see the board of governance. Let's have some fun with this shit.
Oh, that's a fun little chart
Let's
to go
have
on. The
some
board of
fun.
governance.
Fuck it. Let's have some fun. This is on their website, so if they're upset about it, that's on them. Hey, well then change your fucking website. You have all those trillions of dollars, you can't change your fucking website. Whose fault is that? Let's see the board. I'm trying to look at the board members. Ah. God damn it.
Yeah, I guarantee you'll have some fun with that. The board members.
Well, I mean, if I could find the board members, I would. Are eight times a year with the UK corporate. Interesting. This shit is interesting. Board.
Oh, you'll have some
Board
fun with this
members.
site. Trust me, you'll definitely have fun with this
Oh, I found the circle members. Ha ha ha. I found their board members. Circle Group PLC, yes. Same fucking group. I got you now. Okay. Well, I found their board members. Yeah. Who knew we wouldn't know? Who knew? See, we are telling actual news, aren't we?
All right.
We're telling news. We just told it, and yeah, it just sucks that Scott's not here for that. But
oh, he'll check it out later.
Yeah. Key board of directors. Name Rupert Christopher Solms. Why does this sound interesting? Why does that name sound familiar? Do you know why that name sounds familiar? And then Nigel Crossley. That's another interesting name. And then Dame Sue Owen. I don't know what gender that person is, but she. Okay, I know what she is. Never mind. I just have to look things up online. That's all. Rupert, Dame. If Damien is a more masculine version of the name. Okay. That's not important. Crew Desai. Desai. My name is Desai.
Well, you know what? I've written down like a couple pages of names because people are like, well, what do I look for? And since the beginning of time, I wrote down a couple pages of names that people should be able to spot when they see them come up. And yeah, some of those are the same names you're seeing right there. They're derivatives, at least, of the same names.
John Frederick Riston. You know what's kind of funny about all this? The corporate constitution supposedly nonsense, yet one company in England, in the London area, somehow controls the entire country.
Okay.
That's really, 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 that's very, very interesting.
All right. Well, you want me to back that up for you just a little bit? As far as who's running things? All right. A lot of people want to say the Vatican runs things, okay? Now, and there's also people that say that England runs things.
Well, I mean, you're kind of telling me that a company in England runs things.
Right. Well, okay. If you look, for instance, at England, for instance, and you go to 1215, looking at the Magna Carta, for instance.
1218.
A lot of people want to use the Magna Carta. Okay. If you go back before that and go to 1212 or 1213, what you're going to find is that King John was afraid that he was going to lose his position in heaven. And so he gave over the entire conquest of Britain to the Pope and to the Vatican.
Right.
And so the Pope laughed at the Magna Carta. He said, that's void. It doesn't mean anything. And he was correct. It didn't mean anything. Because King John had already given over the British freaking crown to the Vatican. In fact, here's something crazy, is that the British crown rents the freaking I'm laughing. The British crown rents the crown back from the Vatican for £666 a year. Funny? Yeah, I think it's funny.
So it was how much a year?
666
million.
666 pounds a year.
That's how much the Vatican gets from England.
Yeah. Well, but they get it from, I think it's like 3 or 4 different feasts or whatever that they do every year. But yeah, it accumulates to 666 pounds a year. And so I think it's interesting to see that
all that wealth and it's only 666. Wait a second. So the King of England wanted to donate all his wealth to the Pope, and the Pope just laughed at the Magna Carta. And somehow it just results in England giving the Vatican 666 pounds a year.
Yeah, well, yeah, they pay the Vatican 666 pounds a year to rent the crown back from the Vatican.
Huh.
Now, it may have gone up since then, but that's what it was back in 1512 or whenever they originally agreed on it. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's well, I mean, I so that means the Vatican does run things then, if the crown is
right. Well, here's the thing, and this is what I tell people. I got a good friend of mine that I'm running a business with or whatever. That he is from Canada, okay, and he was trying to show me his rights in Canada and everything. And I went and showed him something for the United States, and he was like, holy crap. He was like, thank you. Right. So I gave him the documents for it and everything. But you can go and look and see what the United States of America was even before the Pilgrims came to the United States. What it was referred to as. What this colony was here.
Yeah.
It was called British North America.
Yeah.
It was British North America long before anybody ever came here. Because the crown owned everything, and even when the so-called Pilgrims came here, they came as indentured servants. They were indentured servants. They were slaves.
Yeah.
And they had to do X amount with the property that they were granted. Otherwise, they would have to give it back to the king.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest arguments with the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
People were upset with having to freaking give anything back. Well, all this land had already been freaking obfuscated by the freaking crown. And the crown wasn't just England. The crown was also France.
Yeah.
That's where that term Union Jack came from. Union Jack meant it was a union of the King of England and the King of France.
That's why the colors are blue, white, and red, like England and like Britain and France.
Exactly. You've got it. Hey, you got it, brother. You got it.
Wow.
You're understanding it now.
Yeah, everything's being pieced together today.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why U.S. attorneys have to register themselves to a British company, to a British organization.
Oh, I've never heard that they have to.
Well, they always register themselves to the bar, which is a British accredited
Who told you that?
registration.
Who told you that it's the British accredited registry?
I thought that's what the definition is.
Well, that's what Jordan Maxwell tells you. That's what other people say. I mean, I've had Jordan Maxwell. He's come on my show as well. But no, there's no evidence that that's what the bar means. The bar, really, when you get into it, a bar is just an attorney. It's a barrister.
Right, barrister.
A bar is a barrister.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've gone deep into this. But
that is a rather interesting phenomenon either way.
yeah, I've done spider web searches. I mean, I do spider searches on everything. Like, I've done spider searches on birth certificate, for instance. Everything that mentions birth certificate, I want to read it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And learn what it's all about. And I did the same thing with the bar. I did a spider search on the bar. Everything that mentions bar. What's it about? What's it referencing? And yeah, I don't find anything talking about the bar the way that it's shown by most of the people. And that's why, I tend to call it Guru Guano. Guru Guano, batshit crazy stuff.
Then what about the birth certificates? Aren't they or the social security numbers registered in Rome?
No, there's no evidence of that. I mean, I've done a ton of research into the birth certificate. In fact, that's the first thing I really did a ton of research into, as far as doing a spider search into. And that's why I went up with my plan of doing, the authentication of the birth certificate. That's why I've done that. Because of the evidence I found regarding what the birth certificate really is, what it really pertains to. You know what I mean? But no, there's no ownership listed. What it really is the birth certificate. It's the state created an organization. It was what it comes down to, and they flat out say that. If anybody doubts that, I can show you where they say that.
Right.
But they create an organization, and they see you as a representative for that organization. Bottom line.
So that's what the birth certificates are about, then?
Yeah. Because, I mean, everybody is in a freaking organization. They're in a freaking representative capacity. When you're in court, the freaking judge is in a representative capacity, so is the clerk of court, so is the attorney. Everybody is in a representative capacity. What makes you think you are not in a representative capacity?
Nothing.
Absolutely. Because you are. They see you as being in a representative capacity. And so that is the situation you have to fix. And that's what I've got on my YouTube channel.
That's awesome.
That's what I talk about. I mean, but anyway, every Sunday night, dude, I've got freaking calls. People jump on.
All right, Sunday night. I might have, if I'm, not completely. If I come home early from open mic night on Sunday night, I might. What time Sunday night?
9 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay, so you're in the East Coast then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to. Hopefully, I go first. Hopefully, I finish my interviews at O'Neill's on Sunday and just get home by, finish my set, and hopefully, I just come home. That's it.
Well, and you know what? If you just want to freaking get a hold of me and chat and cover like some topics, write down those topics, and we'll set up a call and we'll do a freaking call on it.
Oh, of course, most definitely.
And
I'm willing to do either one. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll record it and throw it out there.
Cool. Yeah, let's make it happen.
All right, brother. Well, I guess maybe send me the freaking raw of this tonight or whatever, and I'll put it up on YouTube for you if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, this has been another edition of the CrayolaSec News Harsh Reality. We thank our special guest, Brian G. Parker, for joining on short notice. And we also thank everyone's favorite word spell magician, Hart Honer, for coming on the show tonight. And, of course, the technical Scott Sonnier for the owner of CrayolaSec to join us as well. This is Harsh Med signing out. Reminder of you that life is harsh, but everyone wants to live it. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Tune in on Sunday when we are live on site at O'Neill's, when we interview Brian Christian Adam and Zachary Sonny Edwards about the latest happenings in music and the local music scene. And you might see yours truly singing a few songs, perhaps. Who knows? Take care.